As a leader, you're frequently faced with big choices that can make your company thrive or run into more problems. You're all set, confident, and prepared to guide your team. But have you considered that your own hidden thoughts might be secretly influencing your decisions negatively? Hi, I'm Sam Wolfinger, a serial entrepreneur with over 30 years of experience in leadership development through my previous CEO positions. Today, we'll discuss cognitive biases and how to prevent them as a leader. Let's start with a simple question. Are you a good driver? If you have a driving license, let me invite you to take a piece of paper to give yourself a grade. If you believe you're a really excellent driver, amongst the top 25%, mark yourself an A. If you're better than average, give yourself a B. If you're below average, it's a C. And if you're in amongst the worst potentially dangerous drivers, mark yourself a D. So what grade did you give yourself? An A or a B? Are you better than average drivers? Surprisingly, 90% of the people rate themselves as better than average drivers, which is, per definition, nonsense. These 90% above average results are consistent across all countries in various groups, asked many times at different periods. It's even been asked to people in the hospital after a car accident if they drive better than average, and the response is yes, 90% think so. So why do we tend to overrate ourselves so easily? If you ask teachers if they teach better than the average, 90% will say they are better than the average teacher. Ask entrepreneurs about their chances of success, they will tell you, yes, the majority of startups may fail. I know, I've been told 1,000 times, but I have a 90% chance of success. And of course, if you're asking people who are getting married if they think their marriage will last forever, 100% of them, even those in their second or third marriage, will tell you that they are absolutely certain they will stay married until death do them part. This brings up a big issue in making decisions. Being optimistic is good, but if we always think we're better than we are, we can make bad choices. And this kind of mistake is known as a cognitive bias, and this one in particular is called overconfidence bias. Ready for more? Let's explore another fascinating example, optical illusions, to illustrate how our brain can easily deceive us even in the simplest of observations. Take a moment to look at this image and compare the A square with the B square. Which one is brighter? Which one is darker? Or do they have the same shade? I might surprise you, but A has the same shade as B. And let me prove it to you. If you draw a connecting bar between the two squares, we break the illusion and show that they are the same shade. Let's look at it again. And now again. Incredible, right? Even if I repeatedly show you these images and employ various methods to prove that the two squares share the same luminosity, your brain will persist in its initial interpretation, diverging from the factual truth. And this is a challenge for a leader. Our brains, remarkable in their ability to process a myriad of information, also wired to be efficient. Our brain evolved over thousands of years to prioritize efficiency and quick decision-making, crucial for survival in the harsh environments faced by early humans. This evolutionary need for efficiency is why our brain often resorts to mental shortcuts and biases. Let me explain that to you. Consider a scenario from 50,000 years ago. Early humans living in the wild constantly faced life-threatening situations, like encountering a predator. In such instances, there was no time for detailed analytical thinking. Instead, their brain had to make split-second decisions. Seeing a shadow, hearing a rustle in the bushes, Our stressors had to instantly decide whether to fight, flee, or freeze. And this rapid decision-making process was facilitated by the cognitive biases and shortcuts. These mental shortcuts, such as assuming that a rustle in the bushes could be a lion or a tiger, were not always accurate, but they were safer. Overestimating risk helped early humans survive. The cost of mistaking a lion for the wind was much lower than mistaking the wind for a lion. Thus, our brain evolved to use biases as a survival mechanism. Now, in today's world, threats are less about immediate survival, but the same biases survived centuries after centuries after centuries of evolution. Okay, so remember this, in decision-making and in our quest for efficiency, our brain often rely on expectations and the path of least resistance, leading us to conclusions that may seem obvious, but that aren't necessarily accurate. Our mind is always trying to simplify the complex world around us by taking these mental shortcuts, resulting in the use of cognitive biases. Ready to go to more examples?